Welcome to Mentality, the male-only talk show that seeks to break the myth that we can only have mainstream talk on TV. On to tonight's topic, whether it's sports stars, presidents, actors, politicians, or men of the cloth, it appears that every time you look up, some man has been caught cheating. It begs the question, are we men really born with a desire for more than one woman, of which one of the solutions is by having multiple wives? Is polygamy in men as a result of nature or nurture? And so we're asking, are African men polygamous by nature? Welcome to Mentality. My name is Ian Bohua. And as usual, my co-host, Pastor S.
Hello.
And the amused Edward Quach.
Hello, hello.
Before we find out what has really amused him on a topic that is very close to his heart, let us hit the streets and see what men think about polygamy.
Basically, I don't think they're polygamous, mostly because of culture change and things like that. Yeah, we've had influence from the Western. And you see, most of us nowadays, we just want like one wife and then 2 kids, and that we're good.
I don't think you should generalize in anything. That's stereotypical. People are different everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's genes. You know why men go out? They go out for adventure. So it's the way they do things. It's how they want to, it's how they enjoy life.
Right. Polygamy has been practiced and was practiced by our forefathers for a very, very long time. Men are supposed to have one wife. But is that really what is happening?
Your father was in a polygamous relationship. So before you start that discussion, check yourself. Now, we're naturally dogs.
Is it nature or nurture?
Nature. Okay?
We're born that way.
We're
That's
born
what you
that way.
say.
Really?
After conquering Kilimanjaro, what you want is Everest. After Everest, it's K2. You're always looking for something different. You see what I'm saying? So if we could, I mean, it's just the times, the economic times, the social times, that people just don't do that thing. But if we could all be Jacob Zuma, I think we would.
But what are the advantages of somebody being polygamous? Apart from, don't go there.
What,
In fact, Ian, before we go there, before we go to the advantages and disadvantages, let me start by seemingly being on your side.
Right.
We're fallen human beings.
Yes.
In other words, all of us as human beings, it's not African, it's not American, it's not any culture. I mean, it's not every, it's just because, it's not because we're Africans that would want to practice something like that. All of us, including our women, would love, if they had a chance, to express themselves with different men. There's something in us.
I like the way he speaks.
There's an evil boy.
Yeah.
Wait, I gave you time to talk. There's an evil boy in you. There's an evil boy in Ian. Of course, not me. And that, that boy wants more.
Right.
Wants more. And it's not just sex or
Right.
different women.
Yes.
It's many other things that we
Yes.
shouldn't be doing.
Yes.
Having said so, what makes us human
Right.
is the fact that we can control our feelings and desires.
I knew you were going to go there.
Dogs
Yes.
don't control their desires.
Right.
You know,
Actually, mine does.
Let me finish. So don't call us dogs, because not all of us are dogs.
Yes.
We're human.
Right.
The fact that we're human, we have discipline. You see a lot of temptation around you, see a lot of women around you, but you say, for a greater purpose, I will say no to this desire because I've committed myself to a certain woman. So it's discipline that, in my opinion, differentiates between a man and an animal, that is able to make choices and say, whatever I feel, I'm not going to practice it just because I feel it. Otherwise, all of us will be dead. There are times I feel like killing someone, but because I'm human, I say, no, I won't do that. I control myself. Having said that, I don't think as as Africans, we are naturally. I feel we have fallen nature just like anybody else, but our culture made it possible. We were allowed to do that. That's why my father could do this. He could take on another wife. It's a culture that makes it possible or allows it. If the culture was like that everywhere else, they would do exactly the same. In America, they practice serial monogamy, many of them. There are some, of course, who stick to one. But the others who divorce, then marry another, divorce and marry another. It's really serial monogamy, which is polygamy, essentially. Let me finish before you jump in. What I'm saying is this. The fact that culturally it's allowed to have several women doesn't make it right. This is my argument. that as men, you can only give so much love to several women. You're going to you find yourself divided between all of this. I saw it with my father. Well-intentioned man, wanted to treat my mother well and treat my stepmother well. But it could only be in one place at a time. He had to prefer one over another. And love by nature is jealous. You want more out of this man and everything, if possible. And so I went through a lot growing up, especially in my childhood, because I could see our two mothers fighting. I could see the rivalry between the two families. We suffered a lot when my dad died, because now the older family descended on us, and property issues and so many other issues. In fact, I remember when I was a little boy, I kept saying I'll never do what my father did because of the pain I went through. So I'm saying the fact that it's culturally accepted doesn't make it naturally right. It doesn't.
You know, we could take a religious point of view on this as well, huh? Because of course there's some religions that allow more than one wife, and you know there's no drama there, okay? But you know, you said something that is, and that, to me, that's, you've just hit the nail on the head. They want more out of the man. I read somewhere that, you know, in polygamous relationships, the husband, on average, lives longer than people in monogamous marriages. These people are stressful. These people being women.
Do you see why?
Why? Why?
In that research,
Hey.
they had said because a man...
Oh, you read the same thing,
Yeah,
did you?
I read it. They were saying 12%. And this study, of course, was done just in a few countries.
Yes.
But they said
They should have come to
12%
Kenya.
of them lived longer, and they gave a reason. They said the reason is because men who have several women to service, so to speak, end up taking care of themselves a little bit more because they know there's demand from all of
Wouldn't
these
you
women.
like to live longer?
So it's not
Pastor?
about the polygamy, it's about taking care of yourself. I don't need several wives to take care of myself.
Yeah, but wouldn't you like to live longer? That is the question.
I'll take care of
mean-
myself.
No, would you like to live longer? Answer the question. Yes or
The
no?
answer is yes.
I want
But
to live to be
that's not the
100.
only
I'm going to
way.
be in a polygamous relationship.
You see, you're not getting to the point. But
No,
having said that,
that is the point.
Kwach,
That
let
is
me
the
tell
point.
you, do you know it's really hard to maintain several, and I know you've had some ladies here and there. Maintaining one in itself is a challenge.
Yes.
When you have several to maintain with all the demands that they have, and I'm not talking about sexually, talking about other needs that they have.
If we go to the Middle East, this is something that is a norm rather than an exception to the rule. Do you see what I mean?
Does that make it right?
It doesn't make it wrong. If you ask me,
Neither does it make it right.
To me, it is right. I'm polygamous by nature. It's just that, you know, aside from you, like I said, aside from you two gentlemen, everyone else that I know, including the guy who's on the camera right now, okay, is in a polygamous relationship, whether it's married or he's seeing somebody on the outside. Are we together?
Let me tell you what
Taking a break from-
monogamy does.
No, what?
Monogamy does. It gives you a chance to focus on one woman, to give her your all, in terms of attention, in terms of time, in terms of the children that you raise with that woman. You get to take care of them, and you get to solve, you're forced to solve the problems.
Let me tell you what,
what
monogamy does. It increases the profits year in, year out of beer and spirits companies.
All right, hang on. Let's go right back. Why was polygamy practiced by our forefathers? Why?
One of the reasons which was, talked a lot about was economic advantage. Because most of the time it's the women and the kids who went to the farms. The men stayed at home and dealt with some other things. And so they said, we need people to take care of the cattle. We need children. Another argument was, after a while, the first lady needs some help in terms of helping this man and helping in the home. So they needed to bring in someone else just to come and help.
And if the first wife doesn't have kids, you marry another one for the kids.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was another reason why it was practiced.
Okay.
So the reasons were not nature, that we are naturally polygamous.
Okay.
It was more practical ways of doing labor those days, and that didn't make it right.
So
Is that the same way it's being done today?
That's what I was going to ask.
It's to meet sexual desires for Kwach.
Can we use then those two examples? If, for example, I marry this woman, okay, and she's not able, for example, to sire, all right? Is it then for you, morally okay for me to take then on a second wife?
It's not, because there are options.
Okay, Safi.
There are
hold on.
many children to
okay,
adopt.
adoption.
There are many
Okay,
other ways.
okay. Now, if then I am, economically liberated, okay, and I can afford, so there's going to be no one who's disenfranchised, can I then also then acquire second, third, fourth, fifth?
The man may be happy.
Yes.
What about the women? I'm telling you because I saw what my mother went through.
Yes.
The man was happy because his economic needs were being met and others. I think we need to look at women as human beings as well. And they have their own issues against polygamy. They have what they lack. They can't get the attention they want and the love they want from this man because he has to share it with all
Why
others.
do we assume that these women are on some sort of Michael Jackson drug when they're getting married to these people? They don't know, for example, when that woman comes in at wife number 38. See, she knows she's wife number 38. Why are we assuming that she's a
many
village
of them
idiot?
are skewed in their thinking as well, because some of them just say, I want to get some money when the dude goes.
Okay.
So
It's a stupid woman who gets involved in a polygamous relationship.
no, exactly. You said so. But I'm saying it's someone who is desperate for something else or has accepted the fact that quite will never change. So let's deal with it.
All right, I think we need to take a break. And when we come back, we can have a lady come in and tell us her view.
Yeah.
You're watching Mentality. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mentality, a male-only show where no holds are barred. Today we're talking about polygamy. Joining us is our guest, Linda Mudhama, who's a musician, a music educator, a thespian, and owner of Ultimate Band. Before we hear her views, let's see what the ladies on the streets think about this question of polygamy.
No, not all men are polygamous. I think it depends on where you come from, where you are raised, and your belief, your religion. But to me, no, not all men are polygamous. Depending on the experiences that you have experienced in the people in your life, it will show.
Well, some, most of them, majority. Some of them can't go without two women. I guess they need a main one and a side chick, you know?
I wouldn't say all, because with everyone there's always an exception. Because I believe that one way or another people are different, so there's always an exception. Okay, statistically most of them are, but I think like out of 10 find like 3 aren't, so it all depends on someone's moral character, it's not everyone.
Okay, that's what they say. We'll go straight into it.
Yes.
Linda, what are your views?
What
Are
I'd say,
African men polygamous?
by nature or nurture? I think it's both ways. Naturally, if you're built, there are men who are built up by their parents to know that one day you're going to marry 2 or more wives from the religions, maybe in Islam. And naturally, I'd say men are like animals, right?
Let's set the perimeters because you've got them gobsmacked. They do not know what to say. Now, are you in a polygamous relationship yourself?
I'm in a relationship where we're 2 wives.
Okay, but you wouldn't call that a polygamous relationship.
What
Now,
do you define as polygamous?
Yeah, you see, what do you define as polygamy?
It's good to have you here, but let me clarify a few things. The question we're asking probably, after we agree on those things, then is it advantageous? Is it something that blesses a society or not? Is it something that solves the problems of the
One thing that,
we're talking
maybe
about?
most people think that polygamy means that you just go and get women. I think Quach thinks like that. It's
Just go and get women.
It's about collecting women and satisfying their desires or something.
In fact,
and
for him,
moving
it's
on.
just about sex.
It's about sex.
No,
It's not about
and
sex.
I said about sex and
Yeah.
stress relief. Stress relief.
No, that's it. I
Yes.
don't agree. I
Yes.
don't agree.
Yes.
Because for a man to be polygamous, it doesn't mean that you have to take care of this woman fully. The same way you had your first wife or the second or the third wife, and you said, I'm going to be she has to be financially stable. She has to be loved. The children have to be taken care of. The part where we go wrong is where the men go wrong is that when you're getting into a polygamous relationship, it doesn't mean that you leave this family and now start taking care of this one. That one I don't agree with at all.
Let me ask you,
Yeah.
Linda, just on that point. Is it possible ever for a man or a human being for that nature, because a woman as well, to love several people equally?
Yes.
Is there not going to be a preference for one over another? And how do you deal with that, especially as a ladies?
As a lady, I think it is possible, because once you go into, I got into a relationship that had somebody in there at first. So when I go there, the dynamics that I know exist. There are children that have to be respected. There's a wife that has to be respected. Girls join into this relationship and they think that at this point, I'm the first, now she's the second. That's the mentality that we all have to know, that it doesn't happen that way. And also note, not every man can be polygamous. It has to be someone who's really outstanding.
All
Trust
right,
me, it wouldn't be quite.
Let's take it from
I love
Not
that
with
point.
this
We'll
let's
get
take
back
it
to
from
that.
your experience. What is your relationship with your co-wife?
Excellent. I respect her. And the first thing is that the fact that she has allowed me to be there, because she has to agree. You
Did
always
she
look at
have
her.
to, or she?
She had
Did
to.
she want
she
to?
want
She
to, or
has
she had to?
She has to, and she'd want to agree. Because at the end of the day, I've spoken to a lot of women, not just my co-wife, and they ask me, is it better for your man, for you to know where your man is, or where he tells you I'm with my boys and you're not sure where he is? So right now, we know where he is.
There's two of you. What if he goes and finds a third?
At what time? Where is the time?
Where was
busy
the
with the
time
two of you.
for him to find you?
You see, he was not busy looking. You see, it's not about that. It's not about that yet. Today, when you're looking, because I know you look. At what point do you get to look?
Aha. Now, when Ian is looking, because she knows you look.
Yeah,
So, oops, it's out there.
Ian is in a monogamous relationship,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
at this case,
Yes.
there are so many people out there
Yes.
who are in a monogamous relationship and
Right.
they're not happy. They are not really happy.
Can I tell you
Yes.
something
Wait, let
from
her
my
finish.
experience?
Yeah, let me talk.
Please.
Because we assume that I have married her, I gave the dowry, she's at home now, she's a wife.
Yeah.
So you don't even take care of her. So she should be happy. What are you crying about? Are you happy? Do you have the food? Yes. Are the children happy? So what are you talking about? But in this other relationship, for a man to get into such a relationship, you really have to be above.
You said you have to be above average, and I love that.
Yeah. There are those polygamous relationships, even in the past, that did work.
So let me ask you.
Do you guys get together as a family?
Yes, we do.
Right? As in you, the first
We
wife,
do.
and the kids,
Yes.
we get together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How sure are you that the woman you joined wasn't hurt as well and feel betrayed by the man?
You see, now, I wouldn't really go into her heart to find out. But
Yeah.
one thing I know is that anyone who's going to such a relationship has to respect. Because at the end of the day, we have women who are in monogamous relationships who get phone calls from some kachik somewhere, and the way they would speak to her, the way they don't respect her, and they tell you, I'm with your husband. You see, because at the end of the day, I put myself in her shoes. If I got somebody that came in and she treated me the way that I did.
So would you say
Yeah.
that most of the ladies then would get into such an arrangement because they have resigned to the fact that their man is going to cheat? So they say, let's just organize this so that not all of us get wounded
Sorry,
in the
council
process.
is leading. Council is leading. Council is leading. Council is leading. Listen, no, it is.
And she
obvious.
can
Unless-
agree with it or disagree.
Baba, you're
Yeah.
leading. Unless you have certain cultures or certain religions, okay? Let us be clear. There's no way, and it's very unfair for you to ask Linda that question. Of course, in her relationship, that woman, when she went to church and got married to the dude, there's no way that she knew that they said, you know what, by the way, you'll be number 1 of 7. Yeah? She knew this is it, this is the one and only. This, then life happened, and Linda's now there in the box as number 2. Yeah? But like I said, unless it's culturally or religiously, that is beside the point. But are we naturally polygamous? Like I said, I only know 2. Casey and Jojo, okay? But to me, everyone else, everyone else, okay? Polygamy is a natural thing.
And let's not call being promiscuous is not polygamy.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying, polygamy is when you make some decisions. And that's a question. I wasn't asking her because of our situation.
Yes.
I was bringing up a point.
Right.
Don't you think then this polygamy becomes an arrangement to deal with, for example, to deal with this issue of cheating, to say instead of cheating, let's have organized social units. That could be a reason. Secondly, it could be those economic issues. Because in terms of nature, we have said, and I've said even from my religion, Christianity, it teaches me that we are all evil by nature. That's why we come to God, to help us to control ourselves and to be moral. And so that's not really a big argument. The argument is, then is this the way to solve the issues?
Because Ian, I'm telling you, and we could have this debate until the cows come home. Because even now, and it's growing in our society today, swingers. The couples now, and the couples, you see, even you know about that.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
So, I know. Why would you say that polygamy is superior to swinging and to cheating and to other...
My point is...
It's different. It's because swinging, you're not swinging with one couple, eh?
I know.
Every week you're with
it still solves a problem. It still meets a problem for those couples and they feel it's okay.
That's just my point. It's a natural thing.
There are things that annoy you when you're with that person every other day. But when he comes... on the days that he's home, when he comes home, on the days that he's home, you actually treat him better.
You feel like
you
now,
actually choose,
because I have a
choose
chance.
your battles.
I'm curious.
You choose your battles.
What is the arrangement? Is it, do you have an arrangement like it's these days or what?
Yes, when it's about respect and it's about realizing that I'm not stealing him from this to put him in my box. No, you have to have an agreement.
This is my beauty of monogamy. The ability that I'm able to, even though I meet other ladies who could probably meet one need or another better than my wife, that I'm committed myself to focus on this lady alone.
I grew up in a monogamous family, and truly, let me tell you, it was not anything to write home about.
Okay, unfortunately, we have run out of time. Pastor S, final words.
This is what I would say. Naturally, we have desires that will go beyond one partner, but it's a choice we make who we want to commit with. If you choose polygamy, you know, it comes with its territory. There are issues to deal with, challenges. If you choose monogamy because of what you believe as a choice or because of your religion, then make it work and do it in the way it's supposed to be. Be man enough or woman enough to be able to say, I've decided to focus on one person, I will do that.
Thank you. Linda?
I tell the men, because I spoke to the women, if you choose a woman and you know that she's the one that's for you, if it's in monogamy, respect her and treat her right. If it's polygamy, respect them and treat them right. Remember, it's a job. It's not just about the love or the sex, like Kwach would say.
And reluctantly, Kwach.
This time, today now, I'm going to talk to the women. It's after dark. Look to your left. Look to your right. If your husband is not there watching this program with you, and your religion and your culture does not permit for polygamy, boss, chipange, just tell the guy to get it together, get it organized, and I will accept that other woman in this scenario.
Are African men polygamous by nature or by nurture? I don't know whether we've answered the question, but it's really a question of choice. It is not illegal to do that, but it's really up to you to decide and know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You've been watching Mentality. Good night.